Welcome back to my channel. I'm your comedy coach, Linda Landeros. In today's video, I'm deconstructing Monty Python's Dead Parrot sketch. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it first. I've linked it below in the description box, then come back to this video. This particular sketch from Monty Python's Flying Circus is one of the best sketches ever because it's simple, structurally clean, and it teaches a really important comedy lesson. Behavior, not plot, drives the funny. Because in this sketch, not much happens. A guy comes in to return his Parrot, and that's it. That's the plot. Not much happens, but a lot of funny happens. Why? Because of how the characters behave. If you ever take other sketch comedy classes, you'll probably learn about this sketch as well, because it's a very teachable example of how sketch comedy works. So let's get right into it by breaking down the 5 parts of a sketch. Starting with the setup. The purpose of the setup is to establish the who, what, and where. We do this to establish a sense of what is normal in the world of this sketch before we heighten to crazy, absurd silliness. With film, we can accomplish a lot of the setup visually, but you still want to be able to communicate that setup or the who, what, where in the text of the script if you're I assume you're writing your sketches as scripts before you produce them. So it's kind of implied because visually, when we're watching a film sketch, we can see the location. They show like a pet shop, and then we go into the pet shop and we see the 2 characters talking to each other. And those first few lines also help establish the who, what, where. We've got the who, a shopkeeper and a customer. The what, what's going on? The customer has come in to complain about purchasing a parrot that doesn't seem to be alive. Where are they at? The shop where the customer bought the parrot. Easy peasy. Our setup very quickly gets us to the conflict of the sketch. A customer insists that the parrot they purchased is no longer alive. Well, the shopkeeper says, yes, it is. It's just sleeping. Our conflict creates the central engine of this sketch. And it works because both characters are fully committed to what they believe. So the conflict is really logic versus denial. It's reality versus delusion. But your conflict should establish a game because your conflict is created by the character's behavior and the game is driven by it. So what's the game of the sketch? Remember that the conflict is rooted in how the characters see reality, or the lack thereof. This determines their behavior, which is what we laugh at. Just a reminder, game is a pattern of unusual behavior, and we're going to heighten that unusual behavior because that's the 4th part of a sketch, but we'll get there in a second. Now, a common mistake is to confuse plot with game, but they're different. Plot is what happens, game is what's funny. So if you were to tell me what a sketch is about, you're telling me the plot. If you were to tell me what's funny about the sketch, that's the game. What is funny about this sketch? We already identified it with the conflict, reality versus denial. We could sum up the game as refusal to acknowledge reality. We test our understanding of the game by pitching another sketch or another idea for a sketch that utilizes the same game. You want to change the who, what, where, you want to change the specifics, the joke of the sketch, but you want it to have that same game, refusing to acknowledge reality. So I might pitch a sketch where someone catches their partner in bed with someone else, cheating on them, and the partner in bed is like, oh, no, I don't know who this person is. And they're just denying reality. And this is why this sketch is so helpful in your comedy learning journey, because it teaches us that game is not the premise. Rather, game is how the characters behave inside the premise. Once we establish our game, we need to play and heighten as we play it. Heightening is escalation and absurd expansion. If we go back to our setup, both the customer and the shopkeeper are played in a way that's very rooted in reality. But by the end of the sketch, both have, I would say especially the customer more so, played by John Cleese, both have heightened to absurd levels of reactions. The shopkeeper invents increasingly ridiculous explanations to describe the parrot's behavior, while the customer's language escalates into increasing, elaborate descriptions of death, like referring to it as an ex-parrot or banging the carcass on the register to prove that it's dead. We finally get to the end of our sketch, the button of the sketch, which is one final joke or laugh that leaves the audience on a high note. And the button here is such a fun, unexpected twist given how committed the shopkeeper is to his delusion that the parrot is not dead. What does he say at the end? Well, I'd better replace it then, in the most nonchalant way ever. And that was your sketch breakdown of Monty Python's Dead Parrot sketch. If you saw this sketch for the first time, tell me in the comments, what did you think of it? Are there other sketches you want me to deconstruct on this channel? Let me know as well in the comments. And if you're ready to learn more, you can always check out my Intro to Comedy online class, where you learn the fundamentals of stand-up, improv, and sketch all in one course. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more comedy breakdowns, including sketch comedy. I have a bunch of videos in this playlist where I deconstruct sketch comedy, so check out the others in this playlist. I'm Linda Landeros, I'm your comedy coach, and I'll see you in the next video.